Well, good morning. I'm Jody Seeley with Our High River, and welcome to our coverage of getting to know our candidates for both council and mayor in the town of High River. Joining us today, we have Jeff Langford, and he is running for the position of mayor. Jeff, thanks for having a conversation with us today.
Thanks for doing this for us. That's great. Thanks, Jody.
Well, let's start off a little bit. Tell us a little bit about you and why you've decided to run for the position of mayor.
Well, I've decided to run for mayor because I see some change that we need to do in this town. I've been encouraged by a bunch of people to run for mayor. I see there's lots of room for improvement in the town, and I just want to bring that forward.
Awesome. And why do you feel like High Riverites should vote for you in that change?
Well, I think the current council, of course, they've done a lot of hard work with our flood issues in the past, and that's all done. But I believe that one of the big gaps that we have right now in town is just good conversation with people and listening to what they have to say. The people of our town have a lot of the solutions to the issues that we have in town. I just want to bring some really good dialogue with people, get them engaged in how this town looks in the future, and put some planning in place to bring it forward. And I'm excited to what I'm hearing from people. I've sat down in people's homes, had coffee with them, sat down with business groups, business leaders, developers all around the town, and I've gotten some great feedback, and I'm looking forward to share it with the town and move it forward.
Well, we know there's lots of elements that are facing our community for the next 4 years. But if you could sort of share with us, we want to try to streamline information as easy as possible for people to digest. But Jeff, what would you say your sort of top 3 priorities are that you would like to sort of focus on, attack, get into motion should you be elected?
Well, a big concern with a lot of people is rec area for kids, recreation area for kids and for seniors, accessibility in town. All these things we just need to bring at the forefront. How this is going to be paid for responsibly. We need to build the town responsibly with business as well as residential neighborhoods. I do believe in putting some good planning, but we need to, as a town, look at planning at a higher level, look at the whole town and see what we want for the town in the future, where we want to grow certain things. What is our identity? This is a big issue with our town. I hear it over and over again. What do we want the downtown to look like? Do we want to have an arts area downtown? Do we want to have an entertainment area downtown in the future? These are all things that really bring a town to the next level. It makes it unique. It makes people want to come to this town, live in this town, and enjoy this town. But unfortunately, I see we've annexed a lot of land in this town, and we don't have any real planning for it. We have some bad planning in the past we have to deal with, some bad road issues. We've got to fix them up, and we have to work on the accessibility in this town. There's terrible road systems in town that lead to nowhere, and people get lost throughout town. The new developers have done a great job, I think, and we need to work with the new developers on building the town out further and working with a town plan for the future. What do we want to have our town look like is the big thing that I'm pushing here. So I'm open. I'm not a hard no kind of guy. I like to sit down with people, listen to what they have to say, have open meetings downtown. If it's a certain area of town, let's get a bunch of people downtown and let's just have some open dialogue one night. We don't have to make the decision that night, but we need to get good feedback. And I'm going to encourage town for myself. I will do this, and councillors to get out there and see people.
Yeah. So infrastructure, growth, communication, all kind of important elements for you.
Definitely.
One of the things we brought sort of into these questions that we're asking you, Jeff, is we had feedback also from citizens on what they were looking for. And one of them was on the thoughts of the AUMA local democracy pledge. And so if anybody isn't sure about what that is, it's basically about keeping local politics local and having transparency and respect. So what are your thoughts on that pledge, and have you personally taken it?
Quite honestly, it's the first time I heard of it. Nobody's brought it up in my campaign whatsoever. I did read up on it today. I'm totally open for it. I mean, it's pretty well the fundamentals you need from a leader of a town and council to agree on. I'm totally open, honest, and transparent. I think I've proven myself with all the different things I've done in town. Anybody that's worked with me or knows me in town knows I've ran a pretty tight ship. I've covered a lot of cost myself. I'm not really into taking a bunch of money from different people to promote what we need to do for this town, for myself, that is, much like my campaign, etc. I like to keep things lean and mean, but I'm totally up for signing that document. But like I say, not many people have said anything to me about that, but I'm for it.
Yeah, well, I think when we saw it too come across, we're like, okay, this is interesting that people are looking at what's coming from an Alberta Urban Municipalities Association and lobbying and governing on a different level. So I feel like that's promising that people are looking above and beyond some of the regular things we've had conversation around over the last few weeks.
Exactly. Well, I think you need to, there's people asking me things that don't involve the town or we have no control over. I understand that, and they don't understand the different levels of government. So, but I think we as a town have to educate them that, there's only so many things we can do. We will work and lobby with the provincial government and federal government to do what we need for this town. But I think it's a good document. I'm all for it for sure.
Well, I think when it comes to when there's the opportunity for the shift and change in government. So if we have new people that come into positions, and we know on the council basis for certain there will be, because not everybody is seeking re-election there, we know that we kind of have to take some of that strategy and that strategic plan from the previous council and move that into what becomes yours if elected moving forward. So what are your thoughts on our current strategic priorities, and maybe even if you can discuss a bit on some of that long-term water strategy for our community?
Well, I totally agree. We can't drop the ball. We have to keep things flowing along quite seamlessly if we can. Definitely the water strategy is something that is dear to all of us. I mean, we want to make sure that we preserve our water system here. We have to, I think, definitely identify some heavy users and maybe work with them for water conservation in the future. I know Cargill uses our water and we go all the way up to we need to definitely look at those businesses and make sure that we're using water responsibly in all those areas and work with them. But as for the town, that's part of development also, I think, depending on what type of development we bring in here. Are they heavy water users or not? That's all stuff that we have to look at. Contamination, water contamination, everything else, if we're going to get into that side of it, rivers and streams and everything, we have to watch exactly what's going on upstream as well as what's going on downstream of us too. So it's more so being responsible for other neighborhoods that get our water after we've used it. As well as what's coming down from the mountains and other communities. So I'm all for it. I'm not totally up, I'll admit that, to speed on those issues. And that's something we'll be digging into. I know budget is one of our big issues when we first get back in, if I get in. It's just a matter of working with our partners and making sure we do everything responsibly.
That's great. Well, Jeff, thank you so much for taking time. I know it's the crunch time as we're getting close to election day. We've got some advanced polls again this weekend. Voting in High River, of course, is at the Bob Snodgrass Recreation Complex. And if people want to find out some more information about you, Jeff, in the meantime, to continue to educate themselves on that decision, what's the best place for them to do that?
Well, Twitter is Jeff Langford. Or Jeff Langford for mayor, and that's with the for mayor. And then the Facebook is Jeff Langford for mayor, also with the 4 as the number 4. I've also got a website set up, and it's www.jefflangford for mayor without the 4.com. So, and my phone number always is open to people. I'm happy to answer calls, and I have that posted, but I'll give it to you right now. 403-650-0334. I'll always be approachable to the people of the town.
All right. Well, thank you so much for your time today, Jeff, and good luck in the election.
Thank you.